The year is 1974. The place, Berwyn Mountain, in Llandrillo, Merionethshire, Wales. It's been called the Welsh Roswell, a cold, dark January night when the ground shook and bright lights appeared in the sky above the Berwyn Mountains. A UFO allegedly crashed on the Berwyn Mountain on January 23, 1974. Nighttime hours, lights and noises were observed that were alleged to be related to a UFO sighting on Cadair Berwyn and Cadair Bronwyn, an incident which has remained surrounded by mystery ever since. Many explanations have been given for what went on in that part of North Wales that evening, from a meteor shower, an earthquake to downplane, or even lamp-wielding poachers on the hillside. But, for many, the belief that a UFO crashed high above Bala Lake, its alien inhabitants quickly spirited away in a military cover-up, has proved hard to shake. According to North Wales, that belief has resurfaced again following a fresh appeal for information in 2018 by a researcher looking to make a documentary about the phenomena for American TV. North Yorkshire UFO investigator Russ Kellett, who has been researching the Berwyn Mountains event for 25 years, has received a further 4 extraordinary claims by people from in and around the affected villages of Llandrillo and Llandrillo who say they were either close to the incident or knew officials involved. One woman, who said she lived very nearby, told Kellett her dad worked for the Ministry of Defense and on that night she heard an enormous bang, the tremor from which measured 3.5 on the Richter scale, and that she and her brother were told to go back to bed. Later in the evening she could hear people talking in the house about making calls, and when she looked out of the window she saw something large being loaded onto the back of a truck, although she did not know what it was. She claimed there were a lot of soldiers in the area. Years later, her dad told her a Russian ship in the Irish Sea had fired a missile in the wrong direction and hit something which came down and was taken away by the military. Meanwhile, retired nurse Pat Evans, who believed an aircraft had crashed, drove to the site and saw a pulsating orange and red glow on the hillside and other lights. In addition, one ex-military man recalled how he'd been working in a team at one end of the A5 and claimed something catastrophic had gone wrong with an underground base that was not manned by people of this world. Finally, Kellett's findings also included a pensioner with links to the RAF and NASA, who stated the organizations had been developing a new weapon to bring down unidentified flying objects, and it had been used successfully that night. The ex-filer says he is keeping an open mind on the latest extraordinary claims in his continued attempts to try and piece together what happened that night. You have to be careful with any new claims that it may be what people have heard or read being repeated back to you, he said. Sometimes there are people who just like to be involved in an event such as this and want to say they were there. On the other hand, why would these people in their 50s, 60s, and 80s contact me to give me these stories? The people who contacted me appeared to be genuine. I have been researching this for 25 years now and am still trying to get to the bottom of what happened that night. My take: there is not much to go on here. No really good eyewitnesses. Anything could have happened on that mountain that night. Maybe a crashed UFO, or more likely something more mundane. Resources. Summary from Nathan Bevan at walesonline.co.uk on December 27, 2018.